slightly the damaged path, just the change in the ground color. That everything else is green around it. That's definitely brown where it ripped up all the grass and everything. So kind of an eerie sight here and more as rescue efforts still go underway to try and find everybody here and get everybody accounted for, Kevin.
John, you said earlier that you were going to be talking to some of your National Guard fellow workers and that they were bringing in special equipment tonight that might be able to locate either survivors or fatalities. Do you have any more information on that?
They do. They got we got 2 new EC-145s that are it's a UH-72 Lakota. It has a West Cam FLIR camera as well as a 50 million candle power spotlight on the side. They'd work hand in hand. So they did get the call. The governor activated them to come over here. They're going to be flying the area, so they should have the camera up shortly. And as soon as they do, we'll get some photos of that. But right now, we're kind of at that gray period, that thermal crossover, where the air temperature is about the same as the ground temperature. So the day camera like we have is more beneficial now. But as nightfall comes and the air temperature go ahead and decreases, that camera is really going to be effective in showing they can either go white hot or black hot and just show the heat signatures on the ground. They can zoom in those houses and see different heat signatures. The problem then is going to be trying to locate people to which house it is, and that's what they have, a spotlight, some lasers and stuff that we use, techniques to identify people or identify workers on the ground that where they're at. So they're going to give that a shot here momentarily, and we'll see how it goes, Linda.
The survivors are out there and they know that we're coming as quickly as possible.
John, you're from that area, as we've said several times today. Your home was not damaged, thank goodness, but you know a lot of people that probably were. That signal will come back here as he turns around. And John, if you can still hear me, I don't think you can. There, well, we'll go back to John here in just a second, but we're going to see what his friends and neighbors have been telling him and texting him about their experience through this. We've got Mike Morgan is getting ready to talk to a couple of his storm chasers who got in the thick of it over there. And Mike, I know that you've got a lot of guys on the ground that track these things, and awfully proud of their efforts today.
Here. We're going to be talking to Mike Bennett and Bobby Bennett about this tornado. They were tracking it today. You likely saw their live stream from us. And they were really right on the tornadoes. It went all the way through more, and we're kind of getting the camera set up right now. I'll tell you what, while we're waiting to get that set up, let's go ahead and go to the storm tracker and just give an update where the storms are right now. This is southern and southeastern Oklahoma. There's Norman right there. These are kind of lifting back to the north here. This is the beginning of the wave of storms, which may come right back into at least the more Norman area by about 5 to 6 o'clock in the morning, near and just before sunrise. So this moisture is starting to lift back to the north, and there's a pretty decent chance, I think about a 60% probability, that thunderstorms will come back in to the more Norman area by around sunrise or a little bit after that. And we could have a pretty wet morning tomorrow morning. There may even be some hail storms around. We're not going to have baseball size hail, I don't believe that, but we may have some dime and nickel size hailstorms in the general area as we come into the late night hours and the morning hours tomorrow. And then by afternoon tomorrow, the rain and storms will taper off again. Then we'll have about a 2-day dry period after that time, so the weather will improve. And if we're fortunate, this will stay south of the metro and not rain on everybody who's trying to in the recovery and the rescue efforts. But right now it's projected to come back into the metro for about a 5 to 6 hour window late tonight and for a while tomorrow morning up to about noon. So right now these storms are down in southeastern Oklahoma. This is a tornado warned storm right here. You clearly see how that is curved and has damaging winds with it. That's over in LaFleur County, and then they go all the way back down to west of Durant. If the control room can tell me when we have Mike Bennett's videotape loaded up, and they're just holler at me in my ear and tell me when we have it actually loaded up. We'll talk to Mike Bennett and Bobby Bennett, and it's on its way, he says. Our director says it's on its way, so we'll check in with them. So these storms are still continuing to the east. There's the storm that went through. It's up near Branson, Missouri right now in southwest Missouri. That was the Moore storm, and we have severe weather now all the way back down into far southeastern Oklahoma. But these have pushed completely clear of the Kfor viewing area. We do have a few folks on cable down in Idabel and Broken Bow, which are right there, and those may move in here a bit later on tonight down in McCurtain County. Tornado watch does continue in that part of the state. Okay, let's talk to Mike Bennett and his brother Bobby Bennett, who are the team today, one of our storm tracking teams. They live in Enid, and they came down to the metro. We were in communication all morning long into the early afternoon, and they came down to the metro to track this incredible, devastating storm that came through Moore. And you guys had a first-hand look at it.
Yeah, Mike, I tell you what, it was quite a day. We, of course, you put us in the right spot, had us drop south on I-35, and we cut across on 19th Street, headed west to intercept it as it was coming out of Newcastle and Bridge Creek area. And got 19th Street, we got to Santa Fe, and yeah, this is right when we first got there. Got to 19th and Santa Fe, and okay, this right here, I believe, was west of Western on 19th Street. And we're actually sitting here, we're about a half a mile from it here. We're waiting on it. We're going to get video of it crossing the 19th Street, and then we realized it was turning and turned towards us. And so we, kind of had to be in self-preservation mode and get out of its way. It actually tracked down 19th Street to Santa Fe, and I just didn't think we was going to be able to get away from it, so we ended up making a 90-degree turn. And turned south and filmed it out the back glass at times. But this is where it's going through the neighborhoods, and I'll tell you what, it's sobering when you realize what it's doing to people's lives, and everything's affected, and it just rips your heart out. At the time, you don't realize that what it is doing. You're just so caught up in the moment. But after you've had time to think about it and dwell on it, then it's kind of just gives you a bad gut feeling.
You guys have a lot of dedication, and we know that you're dedicated for this exact reason. Folks storm track, and we have a lot of them here. You've been a member, both you and Bobby have been a member of this team for a long, long time. Being from Enid, northern Oklahoma, those folks are very weather hardy up there. You see a lot of bad storms up there, and you're dedicated really for this exact reason, to make a contribution. Yeah,
it's, that's all we want to do is just, obviously it's in our blood. That's it's why we do it. But the main thing is just providing warnings and just like today, I wish we could have done more to help save lives. But when something is this devastating and this big and bad, it's just not much you could do. It's just not much you can do.
You made a contribution today, and sometimes that's all that we can do. And in this particular case, a contribution was the best that we could do today. And Bobby and Mike Bennett, we appreciate your effort and joining us here live at the Storm Center tonight. And we'll probably see you when we have storms again.
All right.
Appreciate it a lot. Let's take a look at the watches and warnings that we have right now, and they're down in southeastern Oklahoma. The tornado warnings are over by Fort Smith, Arkansas. Kevin and Linda pushing into Arkansas. So the severe weather is definitely on the downtrend. There is a definite lift, though, in some of the moisture in southern Oklahoma that will probably make progress or gradual progression northbound toward the Moore area by just before sunrise. And we'll take a closer look at that here. It's 9 o'clock right now. New data is coming in here in the next 15-20 minutes. We'll take a closer look at it and update you.
All right, I appreciate that, Mike, very much. People wanting to know where they can get involved in, just a second, it's better when you turn your mic on. And wanted to tell you about ways you can donate right now. The Norman Post Office is taking donations, whether it be supplies, food, anything to help. 129 West Gray, Norman's main post office. They'll take the donations to that area tomorrow, to the affected area. So if you want to go by and leave some donations tonight for the folks that are affected in Moore, which of course is just right next door to Norman, that's the way to do it, at the main post office there in Norman.
And our phones have been ringing off the hook. We have set up a project with UCO and the Salvation Army. We'll have a large truck here beginning 10 a.m. tomorrow morning. But these are the only things they want. They don't want used clothing. They don't want anything except cash, perhaps, a monetary donation, and the items you see listed. Water bottles, Gatorade, wipes, individual wraps, snacks, hand sanitizer, diapers, baby formula, hand towels, work gloves, and sunscreen. So if you're able to help, we do ask that you bring those items to News Channel 4 tomorrow. We're at 444 East Britton Road, and we will work with the Salvation Army to get that to the victims.
Don't you know that? We'll fill up in a hurry.
And it probably goes without saying, but we've received official word that there will be no more public schools tomorrow. So all schools and more closed tomorrow. Let's
go to Ashley Kringen, who is in the newsroom right now, who has some information for us. Ashley?
Yes, the hospital waiting rooms, such as the ones at the OU Medical Center, are filling up with people who just want to know if their loved ones are okay and to find out their conditions.
Wait. That's all we can do is wait.
Mark Troxell, the youngest brother of 9, has both family in Newcastle and more. He's been frantically waiting at the OU Trauma Center to hear news about his older brother, Kevin, who was caught in the middle of a ferocious twister and hasn't been heard from since.
What I heard is he was opening the front door and the house blew away.
While family and friends are waiting to find out information about their loved ones, doctors and hospital staff are on deck with high response efforts.
So that we can make sure that our physicians, our anesthesiologists, our nurses, and rest of our staff, as well as all supplies, are prepared to be able to handle whatever the community needs.
As of Monday night, the OU Trauma Center has taken care of nearly 30 patients, and the number continues to increase.
We have several severe injuries, several people in the operating room now. We've seen and treated a number of children.
Hospital officials say they have staff on standby to talk with families once patients are accounted for. For Troxell, all he can do is post up at the hospital and wait for a message of hope that his brother survived this massive tornado.
Pray to God that he's okay, so he's a tough guy. So.
Ashley Kringen, News Channel 4. The OU Medical Center is constantly updating their patient numbers. They just posted on Twitter that so far they have seen 65 patients, 45 kids, and 20 adults. Back to you.
But we have to keep in mind that's only one medical facility.
Exactly.
And we have probably at least 6 where the patients are being transported.
Meg Alexander is still on the scene for us there in her location. Meg has seen a lot of tragedy today. She was involved in a rescue effort that unfortunately turned out to be some fatalities, and she is joining us once again to talk about what's happening now.
Certainly just a horrific day all around, Kevin and Linda. I am with Joe Mangrum and his friends, and they have come to help, which, we've definitely heard a lot of negative things, but people like Joe coming out here to help. What have you been doing? You've been bringing water?
Yes, ma'am. We've just been bringing a bunch of water and just asking anybody if they need water on the way in, and that's pretty much all we could do. Just couldn't stand sitting there at the house not doing nothing,
You've been back in this neighborhood. Tell me some of the things you've seen.
It's a whole lot of nothing, really. I mean, it's devastation. People losing their homes and their vehicles and everything. People are over there right now just trying to gather everything that they can right now before it's too late, because FBI is running everybody out because of the ruffians and everything.
What are you seeing people kind of looking dazed? Are they walking through their things?
Yeah, they definitely don't look like it's hit them yet. It's a lot to take in. I can only imagine. But yeah, some of them are just like. So,
there's a lot of shock going on.
Yes, there's a lot of shock going on right now, and then some people, they don't know if they want water. They're like,
they can't answer.
Yeah, they're having a hard time just even bringing it all in right now.
Now it's getting dark. A lot of people are coming out right now, and they're trying to get them out. Is that correct?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, they're trying to get everybody out of the neighborhood that don't belong there. And yeah, thanks.
The allergies are blowing through, but again, they've been in helping, and it's been hard. People just wandering around.
Yeah, just wandering around, and I mean, we got a whole lot of sightseers too, so it's almost hard to ask who needs water and who don't right now, which I'm sure everybody needs water.
What would you say to some of the people who are kind of coming down here not to help, but to just sightsee?
Y'all just need to kind of scoot to the side and let everybody do their thing, and if you're trying to help, then everybody can need as much help as they can possibly get right now.
Although they are saying at this point, don't come down here. They've got it under control. People are already in doing things like you guys have been doing, and that's been a wonderful thing. But they don't need anyone else down here tonight, especially since everybody's going out.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, they're pretty stocked up on water right now, and security's doing a good job keeping everything together.
That is good news. All right. Well, thank you, Joe. You guys, thank you for helping out during such a time of crisis. We're going to stay down here. We're seeing people with flashlights now walking down the streets, but we know that the goal is to get everybody out within the next hour. I'm Meg Alexander reporting live. Back to you guys.
All right, Meg, great job down there. We appreciate your effort, and especially those folks who are helping out right now.
2 elementary schools destroyed in Moore, Oklahoma, as that twister moved through earlier this afternoon. We focused a lot on the Plaza Tower Elementary School, but also hard hit was Briarwood Elementary. Allie Meyer's there right now. And Allie, a lot of people are concerned about that school and what happened to the kids there.
Yeah, well, Linda, let's start by saying, according to parents in the area, all the children are accounted for at Briarwood Elementary. I'm going to swing around here and give you kind of a view of what's going on. This is really our first look at Briarwood Elementary here. You can see crews have brought out their lights. They're setting up tents. Those are mostly for first responders who are in the area here. There's a command post set up over there for the fire department and first responders. If you can see a number of those folks just beyond that Oklahoma City police car gathered there. If you pan just to your right, photojournalist John Engler, that is what's left of the elementary school. Now, there is a portion of a wall standing there, but a good deal of the elementary is just destroyed. And you can see the front part of the building, which would have been, this is the southern end of Briarwood Elementary, just destroyed there. The night crew has come in. They've set up some temporary facilities. EMSA right now is on standby. If we could swing around this way, you'll get your first look at the Briarwood neighborhood, which is going to be difficult to see in the evening here, but it looks a lot like the neighborhood around the Plaza Towers Elementary. EMSA crews are set up. They are on standby in the event that any survivors are found inside of this neighborhood here. The road just along our south is Southwest 149th Street in Oklahoma City, Southwest 119th and more. That's where the medical examiner just identified the most recent victim. The medical examiner's truck then headed into this neighborhood and made a right into the Briarwood neighborhood over here. We know there are fire trucks standing by over there. Perhaps they're going to help in the recovery effort. There are a lot of firefighters on scene here. ONG Natural Gas was around the area as well, making sure the gas lines were all shut off. I know the first responders have told me, for folks who've been here for hours, the smell of natural gas was real powerful, real potent when they first arrived here. That's beginning to dissipate, so they're beginning to get some of those lines shut off for the first responders in the area. The medical examiner's office wouldn't give us any more information about the latest victim that they're identifying here, but we do know that all the children were accounted for here in the Briarwood Elementary School. And also, just about 10 minutes or so ago, there were a number of fire trucks, police trucks, and EMSA. They had lights and sirens going, and they were along 149th Street. So, you know, the hopeful part of us wants to believe that perhaps they found someone trapped in one of the neighborhoods along here, that maybe Linda and Kevin, they found another survivor. We do know that these neighborhoods in this area are going to be evacuated soon. It seems to me that most of the folks that live around here have already evacuated themselves. Of course, it's dark and there's nothing left of their homes, but authorities are here making sure that the folks that are left find a safe place to stay for the night. That's the very latest here from Southwest 149th Street near the Briarwood School District. Back to you.
Allie Meyer reporting live. Thank you very much. And we need to remind you that Chopper pilot John Welsh told us that within the next hour or so, there'll be the National Guard, he's a member of the National Guard, will be bringing in specific cameras that will be able to detect body heat in the debris. So if there are survivors down there, as the temperatures fall, they'll be able to tell the difference between the survivor's body heat and the outside temperature to the extent that they'll be able to direct the rescuers to those specific homes. So we hope that those EMSA crews who are on standby are very busy as the night continues.
Right, finding survivors.
That's right.
Let's tell you about a need right now, and I know how Oklahomans like to help. This is a chance to do so. Down at the St. Andrew's United Methodist Church at 119th and South May, they need generators. That's where a lot of people are going that have been displaced, especially children. All children who have not been able to get reunited with their loved ones are being taken to St. Andrew's Methodist Church at 119th and South May, and they need generators down there right now. And again, to find lost children, you go there, and they need some help down there as well. So if you have a generator laying around and it's got some gasoline in it, please take it down there, because they could use it right now. That's a way that you can help.
But this is a little bit confusing, because we're also receiving word that some of the students have been taken to the First Baptist Church in Moore, which is on 27th Street. So we've got two apparently different locations where children are reportedly being taken. So those of you searching for lost ones, both of these places should probably be contacted. Again, Kevin told you about St. Andrews. This is First Baptist Church Moore on 27th Street.
All right, we want to show you some of the pictures and things that have been coming in to us. Is that what we got lined up now, Irish? Well, I think so. Okay. Anyway, there we go. There is some more video from Bob Moore Chopper for John Wells. John, can you hear me?
Yeah, I got you, Kevin.
John, before we lost your signal a little while ago, I was asking you, you live not far from there, as we've chronicled pretty thoroughly today. But have you heard from any of your friends in these neighborhoods or around Moore of what they're doing, where they're going for help, anything like that?
Yeah, almost everybody we know doesn't live in there, or that I've talked to, doesn't live in the affected area. They mainly wanted to, because the storm was really close to Chuck's house and as well as my house. The majority of people are calling me, making sure that my wife and my family's okay. I haven't talked to anybody that lives in the affected or the immediate damage area, but a lot of my family or a lot of the friends that we have, they're just kind of sitting in the house. My wife's without power, cell phone's about dead. She's going out there starting up the car to charge it occasionally. She's watching us intermittently on.
All right, John, your picture's breaking up just a little bit right now. Appreciate that information from you, and we'll go back to you just as long as you can stay up this evening. Ed Doney.
Now, he's been covering this storm from the start as well. He's at Southwest 149th and Briarwood and just gave us this package.
We're here on Southwest 149th Street between Santa Fe and Western, and as you can see, police helicopters are trying to assess the damage. And the damage path from this tornado here on May 20th, 2013 is unbelievable. As you can see behind me, the path of destruction is just massive. It rolled through here, wiping out everything in its path. And now you can see people are trying to find anything in their homes. We've seen people with suitcases, putting small items in suitcases, just finding everything they can. Support, you can see people hugging right there. Lots of aluminum wrapped around trees. And as we pan over here, you can see Briarwood Elementary. This is where the walls came tumbling down on several hundred students. And we are told, though, that there were no fatalities. That is the good news here at Briarwood Elementary. No fatalities. We're told by Task Force 1, which is comprised of metro area firefighters, that they are now doing a secondary search looking for storm cellars and anybody who might be trapped in this area. And earlier we found a woman whose son was inside Briarwood but made it out alive.
I just couldn't see anything, and it was just all loud and I could barely hear stuff.
Were you in the hallway?
In my classroom.
Where in your classroom?
Like, just like on the wall, beside the wall.
Underneath the table, right?
No.
No, the wall fell on his teacher. His teacher's in the hospital.
His
teacher saved his life.
Who's his teacher?
Mrs. Lowe. I no doubt that God and his teacher, I mean, they lifted a wall off of these kids, several kids.
Was a wall on your son?
Mm-hmm.
Is he okay?
He's fine. He's got a little scratch on his leg.
Let's see.
Perfectly fine.
Kai, how scary was that?
It was just really scary.
I'm not sure he's processed it yet.
Say that again?
I'm not sure he's processed it yet.
How do you process what happened?
I'm not sure how I'm processing it. That's why I'm coming to see I mean, we're moving from Oklahoma to Montana in 4 weeks. And now my husband's like, we're leaving now.
And here's the scene along 149th Street between Santa Fe and Western. Just a line of emergency vehicles, fire trucks, engines, emergency personnel. They say that these first 24 hours after this tornado are absolutely the most important in terms of finding people who might be trapped underneath cellars and finding anybody, accounting for anybody who may have survived this tornado. Back to you.
We wish them well. They're going to be working throughout the night, and we know that. We appreciate them very much.
We have a list of public shelters. So if you know someone who is in need of a public shelter, text them this information if you can. And we begin, of course, with the one we've been talking about, St. Andrew's United Methodist Church, 2727 Southwest 119th Street in Oklahoma City. That's roughly at 119th and May.
The Moore Community Center is located at 201 South Howard in Moore. You're asked to go there if you need help.
Other shelters available, Newcastle Storm Shelter, that's at 851 North Carr in Newcastle.
And the Absentee Shawnee Tribe, the Little Axe Resource Center, the Kearney Senior Center, 301 East Maple in Kearney, all of those are being made available to you.
Shawnee Athletic Center, Shawnee High School, 1001 North Kennedy, Shawnee. These are probably for the folks who were affected yesterday by the storms.
Right. So we haven't forgotten about you folks up there who are suffering. Kearney Senior Citizen Center, 301 East Maple in Kearney, again, opening their doors to those of you who need a place to stay tonight. Mike Morgan has been following these storms all afternoon. We were warned about it last week. The worst